Yo, what's going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for the OPTC video, and in today's video, we're diving into some content with the new treasure map legend Koby, doing a bit of a showcase, seeing how he rocks and how he rolls over in some of the regular format. Now, obviously, Koby is a treasure map legend. He was built for his own treasure map when we were fighting Kuzen and Bizarro. Now, it makes sense. He's honestly IMPACT Koby. Taking on that Bizarro fight was where he sort of fit in. But obviously we want to know how well the character is going to do in the future and where he's going to see play, if not any play, in certain situations. Well, Koby as a captain is kind of built up around fighter characters. He is a super class fighter unit. He's Psi, Fighter, and Cerebral. He has Fear, Pinch Healing, and Final Tap. Obviously, again, making sense being the Honesty Impact Koby. Now, we are taking on Revolutionary Army 2 as well as Heavenly Demon 2 in today's video. I feel like this is a pretty good place to do showcases. It's like not super long content. It's not super short content. You need an array of like powerful characters to get through, and we are aiming to always no-stall the content. Obviously, multiple teams, multiple characters can beat this content, but being able to no-stall it as well really shows how powerful the character is, how much speed they have under their belt, and their usability of characters as subs as well. And Koby's captain is what makes him so enticing, in my opinion. He's a very, very good array of characters that you can use at your disposal. He boosts Fighter, Striker, and Cerebral classes. Very, very awesome to have 3 classes. Obviously, not having a color does restrict him a little bit, but having 3 classes is actually great. And Koby's a really good addition to Cerebral and Fighter teams. The Striker tag, it's quite nice to have Striker characters under him, but most of the time you're going to be looking at Fighters for the super class as well as the territory, and then Cerebrals because he is a Cerebral and he could probably find a home over on the Cerebral team. But as a captain, he gives 1 turn of cooldown, and he boosts Fighter, Striker, and Cerebrals by 5.25, HP by 1.25, and makes Psi and Tandem Orbs have magic slot effects. He also reduces damage by 15%. If there is a territory Fighter on the field, boosts Fighter characters' attack by 6 times, and if the crew uses a territory, heals by 6,000 at the end of turn for 7 turns, and reduces crew's special bind and bind by 6, limit to 2 per quest. So if you use Koby's special, basically, it's actually not restricted to any territory, so you can use like any character that has a territory ability. And obviously as time goes on, we'll get more and more territory characters, but Koby himself, obviously being a territory unit, gives himself access to this ability to set a territory, remove 6 turns of bind, and route to 6 turns of special bind. We actually use it on the second half of the clip where we take on Doflamingo 2. Works perfectly over there because you get slapped with special bind twice, so it just works absolutely amazingly. Now if you have 2 Kobys, just like we saw in Treasure Map, this is actually 12 turns of special bind and 12 turns of bind. The end of turn healing is quite nice, but that's kind of made for Garb, which I've also done a showcase with. It's live for members at the moment, but it will come out in the next couple of days. The combination of Koby and Garb. But that end of turn healing, you're not going to see too much. Being a 6 times captain to fighters only is another reason you kind of want to run a lot of fighter characters under him. And look, fighters, they definitely need help. They need a lot of support, and Koby is like a step in the right direction, because any character that has a territory is already buffing that class or even that color when we get color territories just so immensely. So Koby's special deals 150 times his attack in non-true type damage to all enemies, boosts Fighter, Striker, and Cerebral character slot effects by 2.75 for 2 turns, and if the character is a captain or friend captain, applies the territory Fighter ability. So that way you get a 1.5 times attack boost and 25% damage reduction on the field for 2 turns. He then reduces the crew CD by 1, further increase slot effects by 0.25, and if he's a crewmate, he reduces bind and special bind by 6 turns, extending the duration of slot effects, and then after all of that, he reduces damage nullification by 2 turns. So his special's quite strong, obviously being a very, very good orb booster for 3 of the classes that he buffs. Giving a territory is exceptional. It is only for 2 turns, and that's a big downside that I do find to the character. You have to be a captain to get the territory ability, so running him as a sub isn't going to see all that much effectiveness. But if you're running a fighter team, 9 times out of 10 you're going to be running Koby's captain. He is by far the best fighter captain, so I don't really see why you'd be running him as any other as a sub on a fighter team. But down the line, when we obviously get power creep, we get better fighter captains, this is going to be a bit of a problem because you kind of want that territory. Territory abilities obviously stacked, they're exceptionally strong at the moment, and the fact that he has to be a captain to get this does sort of hold him back just a little bit. The cooldown's awesome. The 2 turns of orb boosting is look, it's kind of just there. Like, 2-turn all boosting is exceptional for stuff like intimidation and whatnot, but unless you're or even blocking stuff, but unless you're not seeing that, like the 2 turns is just, it's just kind of whatever. But the fact that he is basically a 3 times orb buff for 3 of the classes that he buff works great. And then as a sub, you can still get the blind and special bind removed by 6 turns, which he's immune to special bind as a sailor as well. So that way you can get around the 6 turns of special bind on himself. So that just works really, really well. The cooldown's exceptional. Damage nullification removal by 2 turns is awesome. You get the damage nullification no matter what. It says, and after that, which means that literally at the end of it all, you will get the 2 turns of damage nullification as well. So having that in his kit is exceptional. We've seen how valuable stuff like Ace is, Rush Ace. We've seen how valuable stuff like K-Dad is with these types of abilities. So the fact that he just has it across the board works just perfectly. Heading over to Dopey 2 now, this is where we can really see the power of Koby's captain ability. Just removing 6 turns of special bind. Obviously, we saw it work dividends over in Treasure Map, but over here in any content that's going to give you 6 or less turns of special bind, Koby as a captain is going to work exceptionally well because he can just basically remove it as long as you put up a territory. Now remember, you don't have to use Koby's territory to do that. You can use anyone's, but Koby's super class allows you to remove 10 turns of special bind on himself. You need Luffy, Garp, Tashigi, Helmeppo, Groose, Kajuka, Hibari, and X-Drake. Or X-Drake, you need one of these characters to get it. And that's why the Garp Koby combination is actually going to work really nicely. But 9 times out of 10, you're probably just going to throw a Luffy on the team and call it a day. Like that's probably going to be the best move for a majority of different teams. But he's super class, deals 70 times attack in non-type damage to all enemies, which is great if you guys are doing stuff like Treasure Map. Remember, he's a Treasure Map legend. He's going to be boosted every single Treasure Map, so you can use this as wave clearing shenanigans. He reduces his own special bind by 10 turns, and if changes the crew slot into block, including block, to tandem, extends end of turn healing by 1, and if character's second class is shooter, changes the second class to fighter, changing fighters into super fighters. Now this last part here, changing shooters into fighters, was literally just made for the sword donning unit. Like that sword trio character, I don't even know the names. I'm imagining it's Groose, Kajuka, and Hibari, if I had to guess. It's literally just made for that unit so they can turn into a fighter. You can use them under Koby, and then that all works out pretty hunky-dory. Otherwise, no, like most of the time, you're going to be utilizing his super class to remove special bind on himself, so then you can use his special to apply a territory, and then that way you can actually get around special bind for the entire team. That's pretty much how it's going to rock and roll with Koby. Remember, they give you 10 turns of special bind because, like, if you get anything more than 7 turns, then you are going to be looking at running double Koby, and you can get around it here. This is the perfect example of how we use it here over on the Caesar stage. It was actually perfect too because you get a full bot of block orbs. Koby superclass removes the special bind on himself, removes the block orbs, you use the special, apply the territory, and then that way you just get around all the special bind. So there's an exceptionally powerful ability. I love that he has that. I just kind of wish they just had an ability there where he just said, I just remove it by special bind and blind. That would really take the character over the edge, but I understand them wanting to gate it behind territory and making it a bit more intricate for the character. Now, that doesn't make it bad. It just makes it not super broken and not super powerful like some of the other characters we have in the game. But in saying that, it's still it's a very, very good ability. And any character that can get around special bind, especially as a captain, is always a very valuable one, in my opinion. He does have final tap as well. At the end of the final battle, if you have Luffy, Garp, Tashigi, Helmeppo, Groose, Kajuka, Hibari, and X-Drake, basically all the same characters that you have in the superclass, he reduces enemies' damage reduction by 50%, which cannot stack or go below 0%, and further increases the chain multiplier's final tap by 2 times. It's basically the same as what we've seen with like Uta and Robin and the new verse Shanks. You're gonna 9 times out of 10 you're gonna see this as a 2 times chain lock multiplier. But at the same time, if you have Koby final tap level 5, look, more power to you. It's just not one that you're ever going to really use that often. As a sailor, he gives 60 base stats, removes special bind on himself, and then if the captain is fighter, reduces despair by 1 turn, which is actually very, very valuable too. But again, like, he is the best fighter captain, so like I don't understand why you wouldn't just run him as fighter. I guess you could probably make an argument to me that Luffy, you probably make a very, very strong argument that the Int Luffy is probably the best fighter captain now that I'm thinking about it. But in saying that, like, getting a territory and then running Luffy underneath him, like, that's going to be the wave. That's definitely going to be the wave, as we did in the Revolution Army 2 showcase. He does have a support that goes on Luffy, Garp, Tashigi, base skill that Donnie's over just mentioned. Once per quest, when inflicted with Bind, he reduces Bind by 2 turns and increases slot effects by 0.2. So any support that can remove Bind by 2 turns is great. The only downside is he's pretty much only going to go on Garp. Maybe Helmeppo if we get a Helmeppo in the future. But like 9 times out of 10, you're going to slap him on a Garp unit. That's pretty much the only place that you're going to really see that. So overall, like Koby has kind of blown me away a little bit. I was really, really impressed with how fluent and easy it was to build teams with Koby for these 2 fights. Obviously, these 2 fights are quite old, but no stalling them is still a bit of a feat, and it does really show the difference between how powerful some of these new characters are. Because at the end of the day, like, characters are made for content, and if we don't have content in front of us, we can't really showcase how powerful they are. And at the same time, just because a character can beat this content really, really well, doesn't mean that they're better than another character that does struggle with it in saying that as well. So I do like to use this one as a bit of a staple for everyone. And if a character really struggles here, then their ideal play ability is probably going to be a little bit lower than a lot of other characters. But Koby was great, honestly. Like I was really enjoying building teams with Koby. He had a lot of very good characters. The fact that I could just chop and change between stuff like fighters, cerebrals, and strikers really opens the door to a lot of very good, powerful units on his teams, and opens the door to a lot of different utility to get around a lot of different content. So that's going to be really nice. Remember, he's a treasure map legend too. He's going to be boosted on every single treasure map, so you can use him as a wave clearer. But let me know what you guys think of the new Honestly Impact Koby in the comment section below. While you're down there though, belt the like button, hit the subscribe button, do all that good stuff for me. Helps me out a great deal. But most importantly, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, thank you all for watching, and I will catch you all in the next one. Let's! Beautiful special button removal there, Cobes. Love that for us. Get a cheeky little chain lock with a Luffy. Increased damage taken. You know the vibes. And then we go bada bing, bada boom, bada bop. See you later, Doflamingo. Love.